Hi guys, let's do the 36th UPSC Prelims 2020 test series from Vision IAS. So now the first question is question number 1. The 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act 1993 left which of the following to be determined by the respective states? Number 1. Power and functions of the Gram Sabha. Number 2. Representation of chairpersons at village and intermediate level. Number 3. Reservation of offices of chairperson in the Panchayat for the SCs and STs. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. It is D. That is 1, 2, and 3. All of them are correct. That is power and functions of the Gram Sabha. Number 2, representation of chairpersons at village and intermediate level. Number 3, reservation of officers of chairperson in the Panchayat for the SCs and STs. The 73rd Constitution Amendment Act made a provision for the mandatory creation of the Gram Sabha. Gram Sabha means a body consisting of persons registered in the electoral rolls relating to a village comprised within the area of Panchayat at the village level. Article 243A provides that a Gram Sabha may exercise such powers and perform such functions at the village level as the legislature of a state may by law provide. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Article 243C deals with composition of panchayats. It provides that number 1, all the seats in a panchayat shall be filled by persons chosen by direct election from territorial constituencies in the panchayat area, and for this purpose each panchayat area shall be divided into territorial constituencies in such manner that the ratio between the population of each constituency and the number of seats allotted to it shall, so far as practicable, be the same throughout the panchayat area. Number 2, the state legislature may by law provide for the representation of the chairpersons of the panchayats at the village level, in the panchayats at the intermediate level, or in the case of a state not having panchayats at the intermediate level, in the panchayats at the district level. Of the chairpersons of the panchayats at the intermediate level, in the panchayats at the district level. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Then, so the state legislature may by law provide for the representation of the members of the House of the People and the members of the Legislative Assembly of the state representing constituencies which comprise wholly or partly a panchayat area at a level other than the village level. Now let's come to Article 243D. It deals with reservation of seats for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in every panchayat, and the number of seats of reserved shall bear as nearly as may be the same proportion to the total number of seats to be filled by direct election in that panchayat as the population of the scheduled caste in that panchayat area or the scheduled tribes in that panchayat area bears to the total population of that area. And such seats may be allotted by rotation to different constituencies in a panchayat. Not less than one-third of the total number of seats reserved under shall be reserved for women belonging to the SCs or, as the case may be, the STs. Not less than one-third, including the number of seats reserved for women belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, of the total number of seats to be filled by direct election in every panchayat shall be reserved for women, and such seats may be allotted by rotation to different constituencies in a panchayat. The offices of the chairpersons in the panchayats at the village or any other level shall be reserved for the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes and women in such manner as the legislature of a state may by law provide. Hence statement 3 is correct. Provided that the number of offices of chairpersons reserved for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes in the panchayats at each level in any state shall bear as nearly as may be the same proportion to the total number of such offices in the panchayats at each level as the proportion of the scheduled caste in the state or of the scheduled tribes in the state bears to the total population of the state. Provided further that not less than one-third of the total number of offices of chairpersons in the panchayats at each level shall be reserved for women. Provided also that the number of offices reserved under this clause shall be allotted by rotation to different panchayats at each level. So all the three statements, that is 1, 2 and 3, all of them are correct. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 2. With reference to the Bahmani kingdom, consider the following statements. Number 1, it was established by nobles of the Deccan who revolted against the repressive policies of the Tughlaq Sultan. Number 2, its territory extended from the river Krishna in the north to Kaveri in the south. Number 3, with its decline, the Bahmani Empire disintegrated into 5 regional independent principalities. So with its decline, the Bahmani Empire disintegrated into 5 regional independent principalities. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, that is 1 and 3. 1 and 3. The Muslim kingdom of Bahmani was established by some nobles of the Deccan who revolted against the repressive policies of Sultan Muhammad Tughlaq. Hence statement 1 is correct. In 1347, Hassan became the king under the title Abdul Muzaffar Alauddin Bahman Shah and founded the Bahmani dynasty. This dynasty lasted for about 175 years and had 18 rulers. At the height of its glory, the Bahmani kingdom extended from north of Krishna river up to the Narmada and stretched east-west from the coast of the Bay of Bengal to the Arabian Sea. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. The rulers of Bahmani were often at war with the neighboring Hindu kingdom Vijayanagar, which held sway over the entire territory between the rivers Krishna in the north and Kaveri in the south. The most distinguished figure of the Bahmani kingdom was Mahmud Gawan, who was the principal minister of the state, Amir-ul-Umra, for over 2 decades. He fought many wars, subdued many kings, and annexed many territories to the Bahmani kingdom. Within the kingdom, he improved the administration, organized finances, encouraged public education, reformed revenue system, disciplined army, and removed corruption. A man of character and integrity, he was held in high esteem by the Deccani group of nobles, especially Nizam ul Mulk, and their machinations led to his execution. With this, it started the decline of the Bahmani Empire, which came to an end with the death of its last king, Kalimullah, in 1527. Thereafter, the Bahmani Empire was disintegrated into 5 regional independent principalities, that is Ahmednagar, then we have Bijapur, then we have Berar, Bidar, and Golconda. Hence, statement 3 is correct. So, statement number 1 and 3 are correct. Now, let's come to the next question, that is question number 3. Recently, the central government has announced support measures for states, allowing them to raise their borrowing limit to 5% of the gross state domestic product, that is GSDP, subject to fulfillment of long pending reforms. Which of the following conditions are imposed on states to increase their market borrowing limit? Number 1, universalization of one nation, one ration card. Number 2, improving the ease of doing business. Number 3, augmentation of urban local body revenues. Number 4, reforms in power distribution. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. That is, all are correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all of them are correct. In the fifth and final tranche of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, Finance Minister announced support measures for states, allowing them to raise their borrowing limit to 5% of the gross state domestic product, that is GSDP, from 3% at present, translating into additional borrowing space of rupees 4.28 lakh crore. However, the center has attached conditions on the increased borrowing space, permitting only 0.5% of GSDP as an unconditional increase. Rest 1% will be divided into 4 tranches of 25 basis points each, with each tranche linked to clearly specified, measurable, and feasible reform actions. These include reforms in 4 areas such as universalization of one nation, one ration card, ease of doing business, power distribution, and urban local body revenues. The last 0.5% to be permitted if at least 3 of 4 milestones are reached. Hence, option D is correct. States like Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, and Kerala have come up against the center's decision to link 75% of the extra borrowing space accorded to them to how they work on and achieve specified reforms. So, all the 4 statements are correct. Now, let's come to question number 4. Consider the following statements with reference to the art and architecture during the Mauryan period. Statement 1. Wood or timber was the predominant material used for construction. Number 2. Northern black polished ware pottery making is associated with this period. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is C. that is both 1 and 2. There does not appear to be any connection between the cities built in the 3rd millennium BC with an astonishing civic sense of first-rate, well-fired brick structures and the architecture of subsequent 1,000 years or so of Indian art history after the decline and decay of the Harappan civilization and the beginning of the historic period of Indian history, mainly the time of the great Mauryas of Magadha. These thousands of years or so were a period of tremendous intellectual and sociological activity and could not be barren of any artistic creations. However, due to the fact that during this period sculpture and architecture were utilizing organic and perishable materials such as mud brick, bamboo, timber, leaves, straw, and thatch, these have not survived the ravages of time. Stone masonry and stone carving were imported in Ashoka's time from Persia. There is abundant evidence of stone masons, marks similar to those at Persepolis. However, wood was still the dominant material and in architectural remains of Ashokan times. The gradual transition from wood to stone is apparent. At Patliputra, remains have been found of a great timber wall that once surrounded the imperial capital, a fact clearly mentioned by Megasthenes, who states that everything in his day was built of timber in India. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The Mauryas created for the first time well-organized state machinery that operated at the heart of the empire. Their conquest also opened the doors for trade and missionary activity. It appears that the contacts established by administrators, traders, Jainas, and Buddhist monks led to the spread of the material culture of the Gangetic basin to areas situated on the periphery of the empire. The new material culture in the Gangetic Basin was based on intensive use of iron, the prevalence of writing, punch-marked coins, and abundance of beautiful pottery called northern black polish ware. The introduction of burnt bricks and ring wells, and above all on the existence of towns in northeastern India. Hence statement 2 is correct. So both the statements are correct. Now let's come to question number 5. In the context of economy, leverage ratio refers to number A. Ratio of bank's Tier 1 capital to its total assets. Number B. Proportion of highly liquid assets held by banks to meet their short-term obligations. Number C. Ratio of a capital to risk-weighted assets. Number D. Percentage of bank's total deposit required to be built with the RBI in the form of cash. So the correct answer is A. So the correct answer is A, that is the ratio of bank's Tier 1 capital to its total assets. The Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, BCBS, introduced a leverage ratio in the 2010 Basel III package of reforms. The leverage ratio is defined as the capital measure divided by the exposure measure, expressed as a percentage. The capital measure is Tier 1 capital and the exposure measures includes both on-balance sheet exposure and off-balance sheet items. The leverage ratio as defined under Basel III norms is Tier 1 capital as a percentage of the bank's exposures. The leverage ratio measures a bank's core capital to its total assets. Hence, option A is correct. The ratio uses Tier 1 capital to judge how leveraged a bank is in relation to its consolidated assets. Tier 1 assets are ones that can be easily liquidated if a bank needs capital in the event of a financial crisis. So it is basically a ratio of measure. Okay, it's a ratio to measure a bank's financial health. The higher the Tier 1 leverage ratio, the higher the likelihood of the bank withstanding negative shocks to its balance sheet. The leverage ratio is used as a tool by central monetary authorities to ensure the capital adequacy of banks and place constraints on the degree to which a financial company can leverage its capital base. Capital Adequacy Ratio (CAR). It is the ratio of a bank's core Tier 1 capital, that is its equity capital and disclosed reserves, to its total risk-weighted assets. It is a key measure of a bank's financial strength that has been adopted as part of the Basel III Accord on bank regulations. It measures a bank's core equity capital as against its total risk-weighted assets. The leverage ratio is a measure of the bank's core capital to its total assets. The ratio uses Tier 1 capital to judge how leveraged a bank is in relation to its consolidated assets, whereas capital adequacy ratio, that is the CAR, measures the bank's core capital against its risk-weighted assets. Now let's come to question number 6. Global Terrorism Index, sometimes seen in the news, is published by number A. Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP. Number B. World Peace Council, WPC. Number C. United Nations Human Rights Council, UNHRC. Number D. United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism, UNOCT. So the correct answer is A. That is Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP. The Global Terrorism Index (GTI) is a report published annually by the Institute for Economics and Peace, that is IEP. The GTI covers 163 countries, covering 99.7% of the world's population. The aim of the report is to examine trends and to help inform a positive and practical debate about the future of terrorism and the required policy responses. The GTI was developed in consultation with the Global Peace Index expert panel, hence option A is correct. The index provides a comprehensive summary of the key global trends and patterns in terrorism since 2000. It produces a composite score in order to provide an ordinal ranking of countries on the impact of terrorism. It is an attempt to systematically rank the nations of the world according to terrorist activity. The index combines a number of factors associated with terrorist attacks to build an explicit picture of the impact of terrorism, illustrating trends and providing a data series of analysis by researchers and policymakers. The GTD has codified over 190,000 cases of terrorism. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 7. Consider the following statements regarding Indian and American Supreme Court. Number 1. Both Indian and American Supreme Court's original jurisdiction lie with cases only related to the center and states matters. Number 2, Indian Supreme Court's jurisdiction and powers can be enlarged by the Parliament, whereas the American Supreme Court's jurisdiction is limited as it is conferred by the Constitution. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, that is 2 only. American Supreme Court has no advisory jurisdiction, but Indian Supreme Court has advisory jurisdiction. Indian Supreme Court's jurisdiction and powers can be enlarged by Parliament, whereas American Supreme Court's jurisdiction are limited as it is conferred by the Constitution. Hence, statement 2 is correct. American Supreme Court's original jurisdiction covers not only federal cases but also cases relating to naval forces, maritime activities, ambassadors, etc. Indian Supreme Court's original jurisdiction is confined to disputes related to its center and states and fundamental rights. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Judges in India retire at 65 years of age. US Supreme Court US Supreme Court judges never retire. The US Supreme Court is strictly a 9-member chamber. Maximum possible strength of Indian Supreme Court is 34. Now let's come to the differences between the Supreme Court of India and the Supreme Court of USA. Number 1, only federal cases come under its original jurisdiction, and for USA, federal cases, cases of naval forces, maritime activities, ambassadors, etc. come under its original jurisdiction. For India, advisory jurisdiction is there, and for USA, there is no advisory jurisdiction. For India, the appellate jurisdiction includes constitutional, civil, and criminal cases. For USA, the appellate jurisdiction is restricted to constitutional cases only. For India, it can grant special leave to appeal in any matter against the judgment of any court or tribunal except a military tribunal. Thus, it has wide discretionary power. For USA, there is no such power granted to it. For India, it follows procedure established by law. USA, it follows due process of law. India, it has restricted ambit of judicial review. USA, it has a wide ambit of judicial review. India, though defined in the Constitution, its jurisdiction and powers can be increased or decreased by Parliament. US, its jurisdiction and powers are restricted to that conferred by the Constitution of USA. India has integrated judiciary. Its vast Supreme Court with control and superintendent's powers over state high courts. USA, there is separate judiciary for state and federation. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 8. Which of the following are the sources of parliamentary privileges? Number 1, Constitution of India. Number 2, rules of both the houses. Number 3, parliamentary conventions. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. 1, 2, and 3. All of them are correct. Parliamentary privileges are special rights, immunities, and exemptions enjoyed by the two houses of Parliament, their committees, and their members. The Constitution under Article 105 explicitly mention only two privileges, that is number 1, freedom of speech in Parliament, and number 2, the right of publication of its proceedings. It also empowers the Parliament to make a law to define parliamentary privileges. However, the Parliament still now has not made any special law to exhaustively codify all the privileges that they have. They are based on 5 sources, namely number 1, constitutional provisions, number 2, various laws made by Parliament, number 3, rules of both the houses, number 4, parliamentary conventions, and number 5, judiciary interpretations. Hence, the correct option is D. Now let's come to question number 9. With reference to the recently launched Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, consider the following statements. Statement 1. It aims to allocate 10% of India's GDP as budgetary expenditure in Make in India scheme. Number 2. It seeks to streamline land and labor laws to improve ease of doing business in India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The correct answer is B. That is 2 only. Recently, the government announced an economic stimulus package of rupees 20 lakh crore that is equivalent to 10% of India's GDP and big bang systemic reforms under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, that is self-reliant India. The intended objective of this plan is twofold. The first one is interim measures such as liquidity infusion and direct cash transfer for the poor will work as shock absorbers for those in acute stress. The program aims to infuse liquidity through budgetary allocation and credit creation and not entirely through budgetary expenditure under the Make in India scheme. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Under the aegis of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, Government of India has also announced a host of bold reforms to attract investment, enhance the ease of doing business, and strengthen the Make in India initiative. Now let's come to the second point. Long-term reforms in growth critical sectors to make them globally competitive and attractive. Together, these steps may revive the economic activity impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and create new opportunities for growth in sectors like agriculture, micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, power, coal and mining, defense and aviation, etc. Land, labor, liquidity and laws have all been emphasized in Atmanirbhar Bharat package. Hence statement 2 is correct. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, in the road ahead, 5 pillars of self-resilient India. The first one is economy, quantum jumps, not incremental changes. We have the next one is infrastructure, one that represents modern India. For the system, we have technology driven. Next is demography, vibrant demography of the largest democracy. Then we have demand, full utilization of power of demand and supply. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, package of rupees 20 lakh crore, that is about 10% of GDP. Focus will be on land, labor, liquidity and laws, and to cater to laborers, middle class, cottage industry, MSMEs and industries among others. So we need bold reforms. They are the need of the hour. In supply chain reforms for agriculture, rational tax system, supply and clear law, simple and clear laws, capable human resource. Then the last one is strong financial system. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 10. With reference to the recently approved Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, consider the following statements. Statement 1. It aims to develop both marine and inland sectors of fish production in India. Number 2. It will be implemented via both the central sector and centrally sponsored schemes. Number 3, it aims to double the export earnings from India's fisheries sector by 2024-25. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, and 3. Foreseeing the immense potential for development of fisheries. Okay, now the three statements, all of them are correct. It aims to develop both marine and inland sectors of fish production in India. Then the second statement, it will be implemented via both the central sector and centrally sponsored schemes. Then the third statement, it aims to double the export earnings from India's fisheries sector by 2024-25. Foreseeing the immense potential for development of fisheries and for providing focused attention to the sector, the government in its Union Budget 2019-20 has announced a new scheme, that is the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, that is PMMSY. The scheme intends to address critical gaps in fish production and productivity, quality, technology, post-harvest infrastructure and management, modernization and strengthening of value chain, traceability, establishing a robust fisheries management framework, and fishers' welfare. It would also address issues like low productivity in inland aquaculture, disease, sustainability of marine fisheries, sanitary and phytosanitary matters that impact the competitiveness of India's exports along with global benchmarking. The PMMSY will be implemented as an umbrella scheme with two separate components, namely number A, Central Sector Scheme CS, and number B, Centrally Sponsored Scheme CSS. Under the Central Sector Scheme, component as amount of rupees 1720 crores. So under the central sector scheme component, an amount of rupees 1720 crores has been earmarked. Under the centrally sponsored scheme, that is CSS component, and investment of rupees 18,330 crores have been envisaged, which in turn is segregated into non-beneficiary oriented and beneficiary oriented subcomponents or activities under the three broad heads. So the first one is enhancement of production and productivity. Number 2, infrastructure and post-harvest management. Number 3, fisheries management and regulatory framework. Enhancing fish production from 137.58 lakh metric ton in 2018-19 to 220 lakh metric tons by 2024-25. Sustained average annual growth of about 9% in fish production. and increase in the distribution, an increase in the contribution of GVA of fishery sector to the agriculture GVA from 7.28% in 2018-19 to about 9% by 2024-25. Double export earnings from rupees 46,589 crores in 2018-19 to about rupees 1 lakh crores by 2024-25. Enhancing productivity in aquaculture from the present national average of 3 tons to about 5 tons per hectare. Reduction of post-harvest losses from the reported 20 to 25% to about 10%. Enhancement of the domestic fish consumption from about 5 to 6 kg to about 12 kg per capita. Generate about 55 lakhs direct and indirect employment opportunities in the fisheries sector along the supply and value chain. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 11. Beijing Plus 25 initiative recently seen in news aims to number A. Increase the marriageable age of girls to 21 years in developing countries. Number B. Reduce child mortality to 25% by 2025 in BRICS nations. Number C. Cut down global warming effects by 25% by 2030. Number D. Review the progress and identify challenges in the implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action. So the correct answer is D. That is, review the progress and identify challenges in the implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action. 2020 marks the 25th anniversary of the Fourth World Conference on Women (WCW) and the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action 1995. Hence it is referred to as Beijing Plus 25. The National Commission for Women (NCW) and UN Women organized a national consultation on the review of Beijing Plus 25. What are its objectives? To assess progress and challenges to the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action in India over the past 5 years. Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action BDFA. It is a resolution adopted by the UN at the end of the Fourth World Conference on Women in 1995. Adopted by 189 member states, it is key to advancing gender equality in 12 areas. Hence, Statement 1 is not correct. Beijing Declaration is an agenda for women's empowerment and considered the key global policy document on gender equality. It sets strategic objectives and actions for the advancement of women and the achievement of gender equality in 12 critical areas of concern, like women and health, women in power and decision making, the girl child, women and the environment. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 12. Consider the following statements regarding the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board (PNGRB). Statement 1. It is a statutory body. Number 2. It regulates the laying and expanding of transmission pipelines for gas and petroleum and city or local gas distribution networks. Number 3. It has powers of a civil court to settle disputes. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D, that is 1, 2 and 3. All of them are correct. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board (PNGRB) was constituted under the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board Act 2006. Hence statement 1 is correct. The Act provides for the establishment of Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board to protect the interest of consumers and entities engaged in specified activities relating to petroleum products and natural gas, and to promote competitive markets and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Further, as enshrined in the Act, the Board has also been mandated to regulate the refining, processing, storage, transportation, distribution, marketing, and sale of petroleum products and natural gas, excluding production of crude oil and natural gas, so as and to ensure uninterrupted and adequate supply of petroleum products, and natural gas in all parts of the country. So, what are the functions of PNGRD? Its functions are: number 1, to protect the interest of consumers by fostering fair trade and competition amongst the entities. Number 2, register entities to establish and operate liquefied natural gas terminals, storage facilities for petroleum products, or natural gas. Number 3, register entities to market notified petroleum and petroleum products and natural gas. Number 4, authorize entities to lay, build, operate, or expand city or local natural gas distribution network. Number 5, ensure adequate availability of petroleum products and natural gas. Number 6, lay down by regulations the technical standards and specifications including safety standards in activities relating to petroleum products and natural gas, including the construction and operation of pipeline and infrastructure projects related to downstream petroleum and natural gas sectors. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Number 7, maintain a data bank of information on activities relating to petroleum products, and natural gas. Number 8, secure equitable distribution for petroleum and petroleum products. Number 9, regulate access to city or local natural gas distribution network so as to ensure fair trade and competition amongst entities as per Pipeline Access Code. The board shall have jurisdiction to adjudicate upon and decide any dispute or matter arising amongst entities or between an entity and any other person on issues relating to refining, processing, storage, transportation, distribution, marketing, and sale of petroleum products, and natural gas. And it also has jurisdiction to receive any complaint from any person and conduct an inquiry and investigation connected with the activities relating to petroleum products, and natural gas, subject to the provisions of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board Act 2006. The appellate tribunal established under Section 110 of the Electricity Act 2003 shall be the appellate tribunal for the purposes of this Act, and the said appellate tribunal shall exercise the jurisdiction, powers, and authority conferred on it by or under this Act. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 13. Madalasa Charita, Satyavadu Parinaya, and Jambavati Kalyanam are attributed to which of the following rulers? Number A, Mahendra Varman. Number B, Krishna Deva Raya. Number C, Pulkesin II. Number D, Harshvardhana. So the correct answer is B, that is Krishna Deva Raya. Literature in the Vijayanagara kingdom under Krishna Deva Raya. Krishna Deva Raya was a great patron of art and literature. He patronized different language literatures. He patronized Kannada poets, Malanarya, who wrote Veera Sevamruta, Bhava Chinta Ratna, and Satyendra Chola Kathe. Chatu Vittal Anatha, who wrote Bhagavata. Timanna Kavi, who wrote a eulogy of his king in Krishna Raya Bharata. Vyasa Tirtha, the great Dvaitya. So Vyasa Tirtha, the great Dvaita saint from Mysore, belonging to the Madhva order, was his Raja Guru. He also wrote in Kannada. Krishna Deva Raya also patronaged Telugu poets and authors. His Astadigajas were 8 great Telugu poets. Krishna Deva Raya also patronaged Haridasa, a Tamil poet. Krishna Deva Raya himself wrote in Telugu, Kannada, and Sanskrit. His most celebrated work, Amukta Malyada, was written in Telugu language. Sanskrit literature, Madalasa Charita, Satyavadu Parinaya, Rasamanjari, and Jambavati Kalyan in Sanskrit were written by King Krishna Deva Raya. Vyasatirth, an Advaita philosopher, wrote in Sanskrit and was patronized by King Krishna Deva Raya. Now let's come to question number 14. Consider the following statements with reference to the National Council for Teacher Education. Number 1. It is a statutory body set up under the Right to Education Act. Number 2. It gives recommendations to the central and state governments on matters pertaining to teacher education. Number 3. It is also entrusted responsibility for conducting the Central Teacher Eligibility Test. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is A. So the correct answer is A, that is 2 only. NCTE, that is National Council for Teacher Education, to shut down poor. So it shuts down poor performing B.Ed colleges, 1,000 institutes under scrutiny. About NCTE, the National Council for Teacher Education as a statutory body came into existence in pursuance of the National Council for Teacher Education Act 1993 on the 17th August 1995. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. The National Policy on Education (NPE) 1986 and a program of action thereunder envisaged a National Council for Teacher Education with statutory status and necessary resources as a first step to overhauling the system of teacher education. It was set up to formally oversee standards, procedures, and processes in the Indian education system. Its headquarters is in New Delhi. The National Ministry of Human Resource Development. So the National Ministry of Human Resource Development entrusted responsibility for conducting the Central Teacher Eligibility Test, that is CTET, to the CBSE Delhi, which conducts the CTET twice a year. Hence, statement 3 is not correct. Functions of NCTE. Number 1. It undertakes surveys and studies relating to various aspects of teacher education and publish the result thereof. It makes recommendations to the central and state government, universities, University Grants Commission, and recognized institutions in the matter of preparation of suitable plans and programs in the field of teacher education. Hence, statement 2 is correct. It coordinates and monitors teacher education and its development in the country. It laid down guidelines in respect to minimum qualifications for a person to be employed as a teacher in schools or in recognized institutions. It laid down norms for any specified category of courses or training in teacher education, including the minimum eligibility criteria for admission thereof and the method of selection of candidates, duration of the course, course contents, and mode of curriculum. It laid down guidelines for compliance by recognized institutions, for starting new courses or training, and for providing physical and instructional facilities, staffing pattern, and staff qualification. It laid down standards in respect of examinations leading to teacher education qualifications, criteria for admission to such examinations, and schemes of courses or training. It laid down guidelines regarding tuition fees and other fees chargeable by recognized institutions. It promote and conduct innovation and research in various areas of teacher education and disseminate the results thereof. It examine and review periodically the implementation of the norms, guidelines, and standards laid down by the Council and to equitably advise the recognized institution. It evolves suitable performance appraisal system, norms, and mechanism for enforcing accountability on recognized institutions. It formulates schemes for various levels of teacher education and identify recognized institutions and set up new institutions for teacher development programs. It takes all necessary steps to prevent commercialization of teacher education, and it performs such other functions as may be entrusted to it by the central government. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 15. Consider the following statements with respect to the language in state legislature. Number 1. The presiding officer can permit a member to address the House in his mother tongue. Number 2, the Parliament is authorized to decide whether to continue or discontinue English as a floor language in the state legislature. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? So, the correct answer is A. That is one only. The Constitution under Article 210 has declared the official languages of the state as Hindi or English to be the languages for transacting business in the state legislature. However, the presiding officer can permit a member to address the House in his mother tongue. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The state legislature is authorized to decide whether to continue or discontinue English as a floor language after the completion of 15 years from the commencement of the Constitution, that is from 1965. Hence, statement 2 is incorrect. In case of Himachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, and Tripura, this time limit is 25 years, and that of Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, and Mizoram, it is 40 years. Now let's come to question number 16. Which of the following states have a Ramsar site? Number A, Bihar. Number B, Tripura. Number C, Meghalaya. Number D, Uttarakhand. The answer is B. That is Tripura. A Ramsar site is a wetland site designated to be of international importance under the Ramsar Convention. The Convention on Wetlands, known as the Ramsar Convention, is an international environmental treaty established in 1971 by UNESCO, which came into force in 1975. It provides for national action and international cooperation regarding the conservation of wetlands and wise, sustainable use of their resources. So here we have a list of wetland and the state it belongs to. Number 1, Koleru Lake, Andhra Pradesh. Dipur Bale in Assam. Nal Sarovar Bird Sanctuary, Gujarat. Chandartal Wetland, Himachal Pradesh. Pong Dam Lake, Himachal Pradesh. Renuka Wetland, Himachal Pradesh. Hokera or Hokersar Wetland, Jammu and Kashmir. Nurinsar Mansar Lakes, Jammu and Kashmir. Somoridi, Ladakh. Wular Lake, Jammu and Kashmir. Astamudi Wetland, Kerala. Sasthamkota Lake, Kerala. Vembanad Coal Wetland, Kerala. Bhoj Wetland, Madhya Pradesh. Nandur Madhameshwar, Maharashtra. Loktak Lake, Manipur. Bhitarkanika Mangroves, Orissa. Chilika Lake, Orissa. Harike Lake, Punjab. Kanjli, Punjab. Ropar, Punjab. Keshopur Miani Community Reserve, Punjab. Nangal Wildlife Sanctuary, Punjab. Byas Conservation Reserve, Punjab. Sambhar Lake, Rajasthan. Kyoladio National Park, Rajasthan. Point Calimere Wildlife and Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu. Rudrasagar Lake, Tripura. Upper Ganga River, Breach Ghat to Narora Stretch, Uttar Pradesh. Saman Bird Sanctuary, Uttar Pradesh. Samaspur Bird Sanctuary, Uttar Pradesh. Sandi Bird Sanctuary, Uttar Pradesh. Sarsai Nawar Jheel, Uttar Pradesh. Nawabganj Bird Sanctuary, Uttar Pradesh. Parvati Arga Bird Sanctuary, Uttar Pradesh. East Calcutta Wetlands, West Bengal. Sundarban Wetlands, West Bengal. Therefore, only above mentioned 50 states and 2 union territories have Ramsar sites in India. So, what are they? They are, we have Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Odisha, Punjab. Then we have Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. So the correct answer is C. Question number 17. Consider the following pairs. We have got term and elements of weather and climate. The first one is isohail. Line joining places having same mean annual rainfall. Number 2, we have isohet. Line joining places with equal sunshine duration. Number 3, we have isonephes. We have a line joining places with an equal degree of cloudiness. Which of the pairs given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is C. So we have the correct answer is C, that is 3 only. So isobar, it is a line representing places of equal atmospheric pressure. Isobaths, a line representing places of equal depth underwater. Isobathytherm, a line representing depths of water with equal temperature. Isocham, a line representing places of equal mean winter temperature. Isodose, a line representing places of equal intensity of radiation. Isohaline, a line representing places of equal salinity in the ocean. Isohail, so it's a line representing places receiving equal amounts of sunshine. So it should be equal amounts of sunshine. So that's why number 1 is wrong. Isohum, a line representing places of equal humidity. Isoneph, a line representing places of equal degree of cloudiness. So that's why number 3 is correct. Then we have isoplat, a line representing points of equal acidity as in acid precipitation. Next is isotherm, a line representing points of equal temperature. Then we have isohet, so a line representing places having same mean annual rainfall. So 1 and 2 are incorrect and 3 is correct. Question number 18. Consider the following statements. Number 1. The Election Commission is empowered to determine the authority and manner in which allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha to the states and division of each state into territorial constituencies is done. Number 2. Till now, the allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha is as per 1971 census, whereas division of each state into territorial constituencies is done as per the 2001 census. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D, that is neither 1 nor 2. After every census, a readjustment is to be made in number 1, allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha to the states, and number 2, division of each state into territorial constituencies. Parliament is empowered to determine the authority and the manner in which it is to be made. Accordingly, the Parliament has enacted the Delimitation Commission Acts in 1952, 1962, 1972, and 2002 for this purpose. Hence, Statement 1 is not correct. The 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 froze the allocation of seats in the Lok Sabha to the states and the division of each state into territorial constituencies till the year 2000 at the 1971 level. This ban on readjustment was extended for another 25 years, that is up to year 2026. By the 84th Amendment Act of 2001 with the same objective of encouraging population limiting measures. Hence, Statement 2 is not correct. The 84th Amendment Act of 2001 also empowered the government to undertake readjustment and rationalization of territorial constituencies in the states on the basis of the population figures of 1991 census. Later, the 87th Amendment Act of 2003 provided for the delimitation of constituencies on the basis of 2001 census and not 1991 census. However, this can be done without altering the number of seats allotted to each state in the Lok Sabha. Now let's come to the next question. Question number 19. Consider the following statements with reference to Locust Warning Organization. So, LWO, Locust Warning Organization. Number 1. It is a statutory body under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Number 2. It is responsible for monitoring and control of locust in scheduled desert areas. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So the correct answer is B. That is 2 only. Indian agriculture is highly prone to desert locust. The desert locust is a transboundary pest which can cause irreparable damages. Locust Warning Organization LWO under the Secretariat of Plant Protection, Quarantine and Storage, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare is responsible for monitoring, survey and control of desert locusts in scheduled desert areas, mainly in the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat. Hence, Statement 1 is not correct. The LWO monitors, forewarns and controls locusts in scheduled desert areas, conduct research on locust and grasshoppers, keep liaison and coordination with national and international organizations, and undertakes human resource development through training and demonstration. Objectives of Locust Warning Organization LWO. Number 1. To monitor, forewarn and control locust in scheduled desert areas, that is SDA, being international obligation and commitment. Hence, Statement 2 is correct. Number 2, second objective is to conduct research on locusts and grasshoppers. Third objective, liaison and coordination with national and international organizations. Fourth objective, human resource development through training and demonstration for the staff of Locust Warning Organization, that is LWO, state officials, BSF personnel and farmers. Fifth objective, to maintain control, potential to combat locust emergency by organizing the Locust Control Campaign. LWO issues the Desert Locust Situation Bulletin at fortnightly intervals to inform all concerned stakeholders about prevailing locust situation in India. The bulletins are in English and Hindi. The Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) of the United Nations provides locust situation, current upsurge, desert locust bulletin, and risk map as part of its Locust Watch initiative. The initiative aims to monitor the worldwide locust situation and keep affected countries and donors informed of expected developments. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 20. If one decides to travel from Chennai coast to Delhi in a straight line, which of the following mountain ranges need to be crossed on the way? Number 1, Vindhyas Ranges. Number 2, Raj Mahal Hills. Number 3, Harishchandra Range. Number 4, Satpura Hills. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is C. That is 1 and 4 only. So it is 1 and 4 only. Vindhyas and Satpura mountain ranges fall across the way along the straight line, that is from Delhi, traveling from Chennai coast to Delhi in a straight line, while the Raj Mahal Hills lies at distant east and Harishchandra range lies distant west. So the correct answer is C, that is the Vindhyas ranges and the Satpura hills. Now let's come to question number 21. Consider the following countries. Number 1, Afghanistan. Number 2, Pakistan. Number 3, Tajikistan. Number 4, India. Number 5, Azerbaijan. Which of the countries given above are the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is SCO? So the correct answer is C. That is 2, 3 and 4 only. 2, 3 and 4 only. So Pakistan, Tajikistan and India, these are the countries. India will host a meeting of the heads of government for the first time in 2020 about Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, also known as the Shanghai Pact, is a Eurasian political, economic and military organization which was founded in 2001 in Shanghai. So what are the goals of the SCO? They are: number 1, strengthening mutual trust and neighborliness among the member states. Number 2, promoting their effective cooperation in politics, trade, the economy, research, technology and culture, as well as in education, energy, transport, tourism, environmental protection and other areas. Number 3, making joint efforts to maintain and ensure peace, security and stability in the region. Number 4, moving towards the establishment of a democratic, fair and rational new international political and economic order. So let's come to its founding members. They are China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. The cooperation was renamed to Shanghai Cooperation Organization after Uzbekistan joined the organization in 2001. Presently, the SCO comprises of 8 member states, namely the Republic of India, joined in 2017, the Republic of Kazakhstan, the People's Republic of China, the Kyrgyz Republic, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, joined in 2017, the Russian Federation, the Republic of Tajikistan, and the Republic of Uzbekistan. Hence, option C is correct. So, who are the observer states? Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, the Republic of Belarus, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the Republic of Mongolia. And who are its dialogue partners? They are Republic of Azerbaijan, the Republic of Armenia, the Kingdom of Cambodia, the Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal, the Republic of Turkey, and the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 22. Consider the following phenomena. Number 1, shining of the light in a mixture of water and milk. Number 2, the appearance of blue eyes. Number 3, scattering of sunlight when it passes through the canopy of a dense forest. The Tyndall effect can be observed in which of the above given phenomena? So the correct answer is D. The correct answer is D, that is 1, 2, and 3. The Tyndall effect is the scattering of light as a light beam passes through a colloid. The individual suspension particles scatter and reflect light, making the beam visible. The Tyndall effect was first described by 19th century physicist John Tyndall. The amount of scattering depends on the frequency of the light and density of the particles. As with Rayleigh scattering, blue light is scattered more strongly than red light by the Tyndall effect. Another way to look at it is that longer wavelength light is transmitted while shorter wavelength light is reflected by scattering. The size of the particles in which distinguishes a colloid from a true solution. For a mixture to be a colloid, the particles must be in the range of 1 to 1000 nanometers in diameter. Now let's come to Tyndall effect examples. Shining a flashlight beam into a glass of milk is an excellent demonstration of the Tyndall effect. You might want to use skim milk or dilute the milk with a bit of water so you can see the effect of the colloid particles on the light beam. The visible beam of headlights in fog is caused by the Tyndall effect. The water droplets scatter the light, making the headlights beams visible. The Tyndall effect is used in commercial and lab settings to determine the particle size of aerosols. Opalescent glass displays the Tyndall effect. The glass appears blue, yet the light that shines through it appears oranges. So it appears orange. Yet the light that shines through it appears orange. People with blue eyes have a completely colorless stroma with no pigment at all, and it also contains no excess collagen deposits. This means that all the light that enters it is scattered back into the atmosphere, and as a result of the Tyndall effect creates a blue color. Interestingly, this means that the blue eyes don't actually have a set color. It all depends on the amount of light available when you look at them. In a dense forest, sunlight is not able to reach down because of shadow of number of trees. If some light is able to pass through some canopy of forest, we see scattering of light. This is because sunlight gets scattered off the water particles on the air. Hence, option D is the correct answer. So, all the statements, all the phenomena, they are all Tyndall effect. Now, let's come to question number 23. Which of the following factors led to the initial concentration of the cotton textile industry in the Gujarat Maharashtra region? Number 1, abundant black soil. Number 2, moist climate. Number 3, port facilities. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, and 3. All of them are correct. The cotton textile industry is one of the oldest industries in the world. Till the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, cotton cloth was made using hand spinning techniques, that is, wheels and looms. In 18th century, power looms facilitated the development of cotton textile industry. The first successful mechanized textile mill was established in Mumbai in 1854. Initially, this industry flourished in the states of Maharashtra and Gujarat because of various favorable factors. The following factors helped in the concentration of cotton textile industry in Maharashtra and Gujarat. So the first factor is black soil. Maharashtra and Gujarat lie in black cotton soil belt. The availability of raw cotton was abundant and cheap. These states are the traditional cotton growing states. Black soil is most suitable to cotton, which is available in these states. Number 2, warm, moist climate. It most suitable for weaving the cloth. Fine yarn without break could be possible in most climate. Both Maharashtra and Gujarat states are coastal states having moist climate. Third one is port facilities. In Maharashtra and Gujarat led to concentration of cotton textile industry. Machinery and good quality of cotton was accessible with the help of ports. Number 4, we have market. Cotton clothes are ideal and comfortable to wear in these warm and humid states. Demand of cotton clothes is everywhere in India. In early days, local market itself was sufficient for supply. Number 5, labor. In these states, cheap labor was abundantly available. Number 6, transport. Rail and road transport facilities were available. They helped in concentration of cotton mills in these states. But today, with the development of transport facilities, artificial humidification technologies, government incentives, etc., this industry has spread to other parts of the country as well. Now let's come to the next question, that is question number 24. With reference to the ancient Indian history, consider the following statements about Kushanas. Number 1, they exercised control over the ancient Silk Route. Number 2, the coins issued by Kusanas had deities depicted on their reverse side. Number 3, the poet Asvaghosha lived during their reign. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, and 3 are all correct. Techniques of making silk were first invented in China around 7,000 years ago. While the methods remained a closely guarded secret for thousands of years, some people from China who went to distant lands on foot, horseback, and on camels carried silk with them. The paths they followed came to be known as the Silk Route. Some kings tried to control large portions of the route. This was because they could benefit from taxes, tributes, and gifts that were brought by traders traveling along the route. In return, they often protected the traders who passed through their kingdom from attacks by robbers. The best known of the rulers who controlled the Silk Route was the Kushanas, who ruled over Central Asia and Northwest India around 2000 years ago. Their two major centers of power were Peshawar and Mathura. Taxila was also included in their kingdom. During their rule, a branch of Silk Route extended from Central Asia down to the seaports at the mouth of the river Indus, from where silk was shipped westwards to the Roman Empire. The Kushanas were amongst the earliest rulers of the subcontinent to issue gold coins. These were used by traders along the Silk Route. The main characteristics of the Kushana coins is the depiction of various deities on the reverse of the coins. Various Greek, Iranian, Bactrian, and Indian deities were featured in the Kushana coins. The most famous Kushana ruler was Kanishka, who ruled around 1900 years ago. He organized a Buddhist council where scholars met and discussed important matters. Ashvaghosha, a poet who composed a biography of the Buddha Charita, lived in his court. Now let's come to question number 25. Consider the following towns. Number 1, Kota. Number 2, Tiruvubvanam. So number 2 is Tirubhuvanam. Number 3, Chetinath. Which of the above is or are famous for the production of traditional saris or fabrics? So the correct answer is D. That is 1, 2, and 3. All of them are correct. Chetinath is a region of the Shivaganga district of southern Tamil Nadu state in India. Chetinath cotton saris, or otherwise known as the Kandangi saris, are the signature pieces crafted by the Devanga Chettiars of Tamil Nadu. These are unique in the dramatic and spontaneous use of color and pattern with bold checks, stripes, and contrasting colors. Its vibrant and weight are its distinguishing factors. The Chetinath cotton sari has won the India Handloom tag for its unique designs and identity. Recently, Kandangi saris have received GI tag. Then the next one is Tiruvubvanam. It is an ancient textile town associated with making of silk saris in Tamil Nadu. This historical town is preserved for the art of silk weaving. Tiruvubvanam silk saris are crafted by traditional handloom weavers and are most famous for wedding silk saris. Tiruvubvanam silk saris are made of pure silk and gold-plated silver jari thread with medium weight. Another speciality is that the saris are with solid colored borders or contrast borders with a series of delicately woven motifs in zari. The three bells denoting the jalangai or anklet could well be followed by the checkered patterns of the peacock's eye, the arm jewel, the vanki, bunches of grapes, creepers, and mangoes, all in one sari. The touch of surprise, meena work, or colored thread in between the zari. Recently, these saris have received GI tag. Next, we have Kota in Rajasthan, famous for Kota Doria or Kota Sarees. Saris are made of pure cotton and silk and have square-like patterns known as khats on them. The checkered weave of a Kota sari is very popular. They are very fine weaves and weigh very less. Okay, so that's all guys. See you in my next video. Bye.